So I actually appreciate your presence. So hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Power BI. So I remain Tobi Kazeem, and today we're talking about writing custom functions in Power Query. So a little bit about me. This is the gentle boy. My main function is developing solution Power BI Azure Data Platform. So I remain using solution developer, nothing else. Our tools are around with data warehousing, data engineering, business intelligence, and business application, the Power Platform generally, and ERPs. I've worked on some projects, finance, investment, which is one of the toughest I've ever encountered. I realized later in the field that there's difference between finance and investment. Supply chain, HR, procurement, sales and marketing, production, and a lot on the industry. So you can connect to me on LinkedIn through that URL. I'll try my best to reply as soon as possible. Okay, so here we are. I like to start from history and to start from the scratch. So we are trying to write custom functions in Power BI. So with my experience with users and developers, I realized there's a lot of knowledge gap, how things evolve. So I will start with understanding the Power BI layer. The first layer of the Power BI is getting the data. As we know that you can't get any information on insights when there is no data. We know that. Data is the crude oil. So the gold mine, when it was extracted from the deposit, does not make any sense. We need to refine it. So we transform the data. Oh, yeah, it comes. Loading the data. Where are you loading it to? On the Power BI system, from people that have been in the MS SQL or BI, SSIS, SSES, and SSRS, we know there's a particular engine that actually compress data and do some analysis. So we load the data into the VATPack engine. After loading the data into the VATPack engine, which is the main DAS engine, the tabular engine, we build our model, whatever things we want to use it for, trying to solve business problem, which is the data modeling, which is the most important part of any BI project. And then we visualize our data. Ever since, Microsoft have been doing a lot of work. Power BI is about, it was just 6 years, about 2 weeks ago, celebrate 6 years of rolling out Power BI as a self-service BI. Microsoft have been trying to do collaboration, security, automation, and user adoption. And most of the things they focus on now is actually the user adoption, so that a lot of people can onboard and can go higher and higher for more users. So the next thing I do ask myself, how does this data flow into Power BI? How does it flow to Power BI? The first thing is it starts from the data preparation side, which is the Power Query. It flows to the VATPack engine, and then it flows to the data visualization layer. So the major 3 layers of Power BI is actually the matchup engine, the VATPack engine, and the visualization layer. So we know where we are coming from. Now, trying to use all these our tools is not about tools, it's not about Power BI alone. But as we are as a Power BI community, Microsoft community, the question is what it means to build an efficient Power BI solution. With my engagement at the enterprise side, our solution must perform quickly. Users are not interested in doing refresh. The refresh is only for like 3 hours or 2 hours. Even you can't do more a refresh on a pro license more than 2 hours. It will time out. Our solution must be business driven. It must actually talk to what the business wants. You can't just give the business anything. It must decrease the level of complexity, easy to understand. We must try our best to bring everything down. And then the most important thing to me as a developer,
An actress died. So
Wait, you're an actress?
Maintainable.
that's me. I said that.
Actress.
Sorry, please, can you mute your mic?
Be maintainable with low costs.
Well,
Okay, someone, I think the son is actually interrupting. Okay, so
sorry, 1 minute.
Mute the person.
Can you please mute? Choose. Can you mute everyone?
Talisha, you're not muted.
Okay.
I will do that.
Okay, so I believe everybody should come in muted, not otherwise. Okay, so be maintainable with low costs. These are things when engaging with clients, professionals, doing projects, these are things we try to solve. Now, here we are today. Why are we here today? Let's ask ourselves, what are we doing here today? This guy is a developer. He's going to solve a lot of problems. So the first thing this guy is here today is to transform the data. I'm not talking about the vertical engine side today. I'm talking about the Power Query side, which is transforming the data. What am I using? I'm using a Power Query today. What did I want to do? I want to build an efficient solution. Solution that someone can reuse. Someone can use. If I build it today, it's not going to fail me. I should be able to use it next month. I should be able to use it 3 months ago. I did a lot of BI project, and after 2 months, it's useless to me, not reusable anymore. So we want an efficient solution, and that's why we're here today. We want to transform the data. We want to use Power Query. I want to build an efficient solution. Now, here lie the problems, the corporate issues. You are in a scenario where you are trying to do a project, and no data source with 15 tables. Tables are between 50 and 250 columns. This is what I actually encounter every day. Tables from ERP, D365FO, so broad that we can have 300 columns. At the end of the day, if you are not very careful, everything just crash your model or crash your Power BI. I remember during the days, the early stage when I started, I could not connect to data for about 6 months. It just gets rolling. You have an Excel file with 20 sheets that are interdependent with many formulas. These are things that happen in the enterprise space. So we're actually talking related to the enterprise space, the corporate issues, not the self-service. So you have the finance teams have a lot of Excel sheets. I have a lot of projects that when they bring out the Excel sheet, they can't even fit into the ERP system or whatever system they use. They just have to their Excel sheet has a lot of formulas. Even sometimes you run. Even when you ask the person that prepared it to tell you, I don't even know. You have a data warehouse stored in SQL Server. You need to get data from 5 dimensional and 2 factorial. These are things we meet as corporate issues. And you are tasked to create a report on top of these 3 data sources. The first question here is not about just solving it. You need to solve an efficient solution. And this is where we are going today. The data for today. This is a live scenario which we actually met in the industry. The client is actually preparing to build a data warehouse. And the data warehouse is not ready, and the business is ready to consume a report every month. And so we actually decided, okay, the data warehouse is not ready because of the system is connecting to, it's a global client, have presence all over West Africa and East Africa and some part of Europe. The corporate office is in Europe, branch in West Africa, East Africa. The server is in Egypt. The data is coming from Ghana. Some networking system is done in Italy. So we want to do a solution. Okay. So we decided, okay, let's take some data for the temporary time. Let's do something like this. So you have data here, and I'll try to explain what this data is all about. So the business are actually selling products. So let's say the business are selling these products, which is what I've described here: product dimension, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Azure, Windows 10, Power BI, Power Apps. These are what the business sells daily. And then we have data coming monthly granularity, because even tapping into the data, you have about more than 1 million transactions in an hour for this kind of business. So that's why we are going through data warehouse. So we actually go through a monthly granularity. So sum of January 2019, this is the value for, this is what was sold for what. So we decided, okay, business at the end of the month, there's something that they have done internally. So just for you to bring the output, yeah. So we have the monthly sales amount. So this is a real data, and this is data we're working about. We are working with today. So you can see we have monthly granularity, monthly sales by product, and we have channels of sales. The channels of sales can be either be reseller online, it can be through walk-in. We have different channels of sales, and we want to do analysis of all. So the solution discussion has started. The business user started. Wow, this is not big deal. Yeah, I can use Power Query Editor to solve this. This is not big deal. This is how it started. This is just easy. Okay. The developer come into place and say, wow. The user experience of Power Query Editor in Excel and Power BI is extremely rewarding because it can turn your mundane yet crucial stuff like that. Unfortunately, as you progress on your journey to master data wrangling, the common mistake you might be prone to making in Power Query Editor, which will lead to creation of important words, queries that will fail to refresh, lead to incorrect results when the data changes. So we're after when the data changes. So how can we build something that we build from the beginning of the project and it continue usable in a lot of scenarios? Okay. The business user go back and say, wow, don't tell me shit. I'm used to this. I've been using pivot tables since 2009 when it has been rolled out. And the business starts, and there was fire. And then the developer, it's a real life story, and the developer say, oh, I will apply what they call fire extinguisher. And what is the fire extinguisher? Is custom functions, M language. And this is why we're here. We're writing M language to solve some business problems business cannot solve on their own. Problems that are somehow difficult and it can cause a lot of problems. Okay, so notes, important. Next action is likely to be clear on the level. That is a bad part of it. It's like what they call it, street lights or road lights, red, yellow, blue, green. The yellow part is don't worry, just rewatch the video till you get it. The green part is believe me, you can do better than I do. I've met a lot of people when you engage, later when they come back, you see they are better than you. So you start from the red, or it might be 300 level today. Then the keyword to make you ready is just rewatch the video. I follow Abato a lot, and Abato will tell you, even leaders, we engage with Jeffrey Wang for a lot of time to understand it. So it's good to rewatch the video. And believe me, the green part of it is that you can do better. So the M syntax, is just like this. Let's in. You have been using M, you might not know. Whatever action you click on the Power Query Editor, you are actually doing something like this. So the main thing here is first word, let source is equal to hello, you bring source out, another part word, and you can join them together. First word, second word, and you have hello word. And every programmer starts with hello word. I start with hello word, Java, Python, and stuff. So the same thing, this is how we write hello word in mQuery. And the syntax, how it flows, the functions. So M is much of a dot language, some function dot, the object inside it, stuff like that. So we're actually using table dot, remove columns. You use remove columns when you're about to remove some column. Maybe you have 200 columns from the data source, you're only interested in 15 columns. This is what the language is writing behind the scene for you. The next one is the source expression, which is likely the last stage of the table and your input values. So enough of this talking. Let's move to the demo. So I'll bring up my Power BI. Power BI. So you can see where we are coming from. What is the issue? I've tried to demonstrate this. So here lies my Power BI. We know Power BI desktop is robust. We can actually use Power Query Editor to solve this. If you are very, data flow. If you are very good with data flow, I love data flow a lot. I love using it. So, but for the purpose of this demo, let's stick to our Power BI desktop. Now, this is Power Query editor. We want to solve this problem. So the data is coming in every month, and we want to build something that we can reuse in all scenarios. Either it is indoor, it is reseller, it is online, whatever things it is. So let me connect. The first thing is getting the data. So I have the at the real life side, I'll state the data on SharePoint. So I'll copy the URL. The first thing I create is a parameter. So I can create a parameter, call it 5 parts, so that we can reuse it, because we are building an efficient solution, something that we can maintain. So I can actually use make use of query parameter to store the URL. So I store the URL here. We can change this to text, and then okay, first thing done. The next thing, the data is on Excel SharePoint. It's an Excel file of SharePoint. So I make use of web connector, and I copy. I can copy like this, but actually we want to go through the right method, enterprise way. So make use of a query parameter, the 5 parts, and I load in the data. So it's actually connecting, and this is my data. We are used to this method. I'm very sure we know what this means. So I don't talk much of them. So I can actually online reseller, picking the tables. It's going to be a gentle step. Just take your time. So we have a data. Bet with me, I've never seen anybody that can do any kind of analysis in this kind of data. This is not a data. What is it? It is a report. So we want to transform this to a data. So I know we have a lot of gurus, yes. So here lies the problem. You can make use of what the business user said earlier. You remember when the business said, "Oh, this is not a big deal." I can make use of my Power Query editor. Let's try Power Query editor and see where we get stuck. I'm starting here. Okay, it's my query setting. Nice. So the first thing to do, I can actually say, okay, I think at this point we can collaborate. We can type, I don't want to interrupt, you can type steps. You think it's the next step, you can type, I can actually view from here. So the first thing I think, let me do something. No. The first thing I should do is grant tutor. Grant tutor should not be part of my analysis. I can remove grant tutor. Nice. Should I remove grant tutor? Let's say you remove bottom rows. Remove bottom rows. Okay. How many bottom rows am I removing? I'm expecting our feedback. It can actually collaborate, or instead of us trying to talk so that it don't interrupt each other, we can collaborate step by step. It's a Power Query. Is a procedural language, step-by-step language. Okay, grant to tag out. Nice. What else can I do? Let me see. I can. Okay, remove other. No. Let me say on pivots or that column. On pivots or that column. Pivot or that column. I have something like this. Nice. I've turned this to a denormalized table that works with Power BI. One of the rules in business is you should do something that is descriptive, that after 2 years or 6 months, let's say 6 months, when you come back, you should be able to know what you have done. So does it make sense for us, some of January 2019, oh, I can actually do extra test after off. Let's do that. Okay. Extra test, okay, can actually see extra test after the limiter. This is the business user trying to put on the skill up. Oh, nice, I can do this, I can do that. Nice, extra test after off. Nice, we have January, oh, nice. I did a mistake here. I selected both of them at the same time. So one of the great skill of Power queries, you should be able to understand each step after each other. So let me extract again. You can drop your question at any point in time. I will actually entertain them. Nice. I have this. If you go through filtering this guy, you can see you have all the product, no more granted that you have actually done justice to. Now, in one word, what we are trying to build here is what they call a data pipeline. People from the data wells and other data platform system actually know what we do. When you talk about a pipeline, it's something that receives something and give you an output immediately. Now, I have this already. So you can agree with me that I've transformed my data. So what's the big deal here? The big deal now lies that you need to do this for all each channel. And how do you actually know this is online and reseller? Because if you do this step for this guy, you are yet to get what type of channel is. So I can decide to say, okay, nice one. And we need to have a new column here. A new column, or I can actually see, let me bring this guy. I can say I need a new column here. That will be channel. That will be my channel. So that when I append all the data from all the channel, we have a column distribution there that this is seller, this is online. Nice. Oh, let me do that. The business is actually incubating idea. Nice one. How can I do that? Easy way. Let me just create a custom function or a custom columns rather. Okay, I have one here. I can just say channel. Channel, this is online. This is the business user. I'm still acting like a business user now. I'm still acting like a normal Power BI user. Done. Okay, we might actually decide to do small dates transformation, which is to help you to do some time intelligence, trend, time analysis, and co. I won't spend much on that. We do that in the developer side. We have this, and then if you turn this guy to a functions, so how do we turn something to a function? You can either right click and say create function. Right click this guy. One, right click, and then pick create function. So I'm dropping this on the channel. Right. There's the charts. So for reference purpose, okay. Nice. So let me do that and do a create function. What's my function name? Let's say test1. Nice. Everybody can create a function. It's so easy. Okay. So what's the essence of creating a function? When you talk something about function, it's something that you can reuse. So let's try and reuse this guy for all that. We have created a function. So what's the function taking in? It's taking in test. Permit me. I'll go to the. Okay, sorry. Okay. So the function is taking in test. So you have actually turned this to a function. Nice. So this is the M behind it. Okay. So how do I invoke this function? Let me call the seller then. Error occurred in test1 query. Data so remote name could not resolved. Okay. I can't reuse it at this point. Why? There's a lot of issues around not using it. Let me test again. Okay, so let me make use of the 5 parts. Invoke. Another error. So what's the issue? Sometimes we have issues like this. So one of the issues that can actually raise up is that when you're trying to create something, you actually do a lot of literals. Let me break up this. You actually do a lot of literals, what we mean in programming, that need to be converted to dynamic inputs. So let's now go to the developer side. Because as this function lies, it will be difficult to reuse for all cases. For all cases like reseller and online, we run a lot of tests on this, and a lot of my colleagues actually make their hand burn. And then we realize that we need to write a custom function. So here lie the custom function. Let me try to bring up my M code. Okay. So how does it start? So we are working as a developer now. There's a lot of reason why this is not working, but I will just make it points like that. So I will see why it should write something like this sometimes, so that I can reuse this function wherever you go. So let me come this side and let's start like a developer. The first thing is our input parameter, which this is also getting from the Power Query side. So I can actually decide to tweak. What I can do is either write it from scratch or tweak this guy. So I think I would prefer tweaking it so that I won't waste our time. Now, number one issues here. Okay, I want to tweak this function. Okay, so we have two spreads. What the user have generated and what the developer, our real solution that I believe it work. Now, the first thing happening here is I've shown us the M syntax source is taking up a query parameter. So what's the name of that query parameter? Oh, the 5 parts. Okay, you can see from here is actually making use of coming. Line 1, line 6 here, and line 3 here are almost the same. Now, when you are connecting with an Excel data, the first stage is connecting to the read data and connecting to the table. So what Power Query is doing for us here, that's why I say it's the 300 level stage. We need to go level by level. It's connecting to the book, and then it's connecting to the table. So what he has done here, line 3 here, connect to the book. You have actually supplied the input of that book, which is what should be done here, which when I go back, why this guy was stuck is when he copied this guy, when he invoked this function, you can see let me go back here. It's only generate online. Do you notice the problem? But you are interested in doing for all the channels. So if you continue with this kind of function, you can only get for the online sale. You can only get for the online sale. I'm interested in doing for the reseller sales. So I've actually invoked this function. I've shown us a lot of problem and what actually give us at the end stage. So I'm interested in connecting to both the reseller channel and the online channel, which when you come back to my PowerPoint, we have two types. The online is on a sheet or table. Reseller is on a sheet or a table. So That is the pitfall of the Fox method. Now, we want to improve on that Fox method to do something that will talk to anything, whatever number of channels you have, it should be able to talk with it. So that's where we are actually going. Okay. So let's go back here. So the first thing here is only connecting to the workbook. And here, what can we see here? Can someone reply? I like a collaborative class.
Online.
Online. So we have from the data we have different channels. Each channel has its own tables of values. So if you are specifying it online this way, which is a literals, how do you tell that when it is reseller, how did you change it? So this is where the query parameter comes. So we supply this guy with a query parameter, which is why we input this guy. So I move this guy here and make it more dynamic. So can actually write something. We're going to tweak this guy till we get to this point. We make it more dynamic, saying, give me an input parameter so that I can specify what type of channel I want to move to. Because in this kind of scenario, you need to come here and edit one by one, change this guy to online. So before changing it to online, let me do something. Let me actually change it to reseller. You see the data will actually change. So if I invoke this guy, you can see this guy that gave me data before has error now. I think there's latency in my screen now. What can you see currently?
The error.
An error screen. Okay, so you can see now trying to change the function to extract reseller. We have an error. That is the error I'm talking about. We could not connect to something else. And why? Okay, let's go on. If actually this is the query that generates this guy, if you are very good in Power Query, you can say, oh, it's just for me to change this guy to reseller now, but it will be now. Okay, let me do that. And then check it. Can you see this guy is also stuck? He's already stuck. He can't even move further beyond that stage. Why? Because you are making use of literals, direct values, which are not dynamic that your query can read. And this is why we need a function, something that can be reusable. If I return this guy to online, you see this guy will flow back. So you can see where the issues are coming from. So we start from the problem side, you can see it's coming back now. And we have something like this. So this is what we want to trash out. I hope you're actually with me. Okay. Let me move back to my function. Okay, let me make use of this. Okay, we have a few minutes, so make it fast now. Now, first thing Power Query is actually doing is connecting to the Excel workbook. This first slide, just connect to the Excel workbook. I've supplied the URLs as a parameter. You can see when I hover on it, it's actually giving me the URL paths, http t.kazeem code. Nice one. So it means that when I study my query, I need to write something like an input parameter that should be able to change from online to reseller. So I bring what they call the input parameter. So, and this is part of function children, or let me say is child. So I writing a query parameter is just straightforward. Cat. I call this as cat as test. So what am I writing? I'm telling this guy, the name, your name is actually source, and you are receiving cats as test. And then I want you to invoke whatever is down here. That is the layman language. Oh, nice. When we started, I showed us the F syntax, which is something like this. So we have written the first stage. Now, we are moving back, saying, okay, we need to wrap this guy in a new let-in function. As I say, pardon me, it's a 300 levels stage, but don't worry, it's something we'll get. Just watch the video. Because they're actually solving problem that is beyond the user editor. So we need to go an extra mile. And I can say from Giravi, a statement from Giravi, you do yourself good if you can learn a little bit of this editor. Bet with me, I've never done any BI projects, a full enterprise project that won't need to come and do something like this. It does not move like that. The query editor will help us a lot, but we need the last stage of something like this. So we have something like this. The first thing is 5 part as query parameter. We have done this nice. So what is line 5 actually doing? Let me copy this guy. This is doing this, and so line 5 is connecting to table. This is what sometimes I always advise people, try to check. I started with M, not even that. So I try to check whatever code this guy is generating for you so that you can actually do some mighty things. There's a lot of mighty things we have done with this kind of solution. And it's so mighty that when users see it, blow up their mind, wow, it is actually powerful. And then I love the word from Microsoft, Power BI, power. So it's a extract specific table. This is what this guy is doing. Extract specific table from this guy, from the table. Now, let me show us in a real life what is happening. When you connect to the data, you can see the first thing is web.connect and co reseller is extracting. When you connect to the Excel data, it can preview the data and say, okay, I'm extracting to reseller. So if I click on this guy, it's going to the sheet. No, I need the table. So I can click here, it will generate this. So this is what have happened at that stage. So, okay. Now we're using this one. Nice. I didn't want to rush, but I think time, we just have to move it forward. Okay. The next one is, I want to turn this guy so dynamic. So I can make use of this query parameter, which is what we have written here. We have written cat. So I change this guy to cat. So I accept the query parameter, input parameter rather. So the next thing is, I prefer removing this chain type because it causes a lot of wahala. I advise and always advise that chain type should be your last step because of a lot of issues we have encountered because of this only one action. So I'm removing this. The first thing I need to do is to remove the bottom rows, which is actually the to remove the bottom row, which is actually the
Grand total.
exactly. So which is actually the grand total. So I can actually say chain type. Oh, I've removed chain type. So let me bring back this online table. Writing a function is so easy if you can follow the procedure. I've advised, let's rewatch this. It's always good to come to some advanced topic sometimes like this. So we have that straightforward. The next stage I need to do is, I've removed the grand total. The next stage I need to do is transform my guy. Oh, this one needs a lot of function. Let me just input. We have written some function, an M function to do that dynamically. Let me quickly input it here. And we start type. So taking remove bottom row, it will have done the job beside the scene. So on pivot table, now this is another problem it comes. Online is still there. So if I change this one to cat, okay, nice. It will solve it for me. To solve it for me. On pivot order column, column as test and other things. I'm coming. Okay. This is where one of the issues we encounter. Column as test. Okay, this is good. The next thing is this is dynamic. We are trying to add. When you see what this guy have done here, he's trying to pivot to that column and he's still referencing this cat. How do we change this? This is a string. How do you change this to something like a parameter? That is where the problem lies. Because if you still retain this online, if you are trying to connect to the seller table, it will give us an error, which is actually happening in the real scenario. This is a real life scenario we worked on, trying to solve it for a client. So we actually look into and say, okay, nice. What can we do here? Can someone help out? I'm also stuck here. Jokingly, I'm stuck. So what can we do?
Replace online with cats.
Okay, we replace online with cat. Nice. So what actually happened is when you transform the guy, you have transformed this, you have this. We replace online with cats, but then we are also stuck with an issue because the cat can be anything. This guy did not receive strange. So we actually reference something which I will show us here. We reference table.column name, the first element on that table. You can see it's the solution look easy at the top side. So what we reference is if you remember, it should be online. If it is a reseller, it should be reseller. So we need to reference this guy. So we actually need to write a query. It's easier at the front end, but when we try to solve it with GI, we got stuck, but we're able to resolve this in an hour. So we need to reference this guy, and referencing this guy actually lead us to writing something like this. Writing something like this, which is what we wrote here. Table.column name, giving me table.column name. What table.column name does is, what table.column name does, let me try to take us to table.column name. So sometimes it is always good to reference the documentation. I learned all my M from Microsoft documentation. Table.column name will actually return you the column of any table. So if my solution, my pseudocode, the way I work is I write a pseudocode, how I'm going to solve it. If my pseudocode is to retrieve this guy dynamically, so I can retrieve the column of this table and pick the first guy, which is what this code is telling us. These are dynamic solutions. Table.column name, give me the column of this table. This is the source, which is rename column name, and give me the first input, wherever it is there, it should return that. And if you put it like that, because this guy did not receive a string, you can't just put the cat there. So it solved us for this stage, and we move on. Okay, we're using the online. So I think I need to speed up here. So we transform this guy here, and we change all these things here, and we write something like this. We write something like this, and it move on. So attributes, although we have actually changed our own name from, we can retain the attribute wherever it is, we can move forward. So it's resolved. And then the next thing where we got stuck again is somewhere like this also. When we're trying to add the channel. So for us to reference that again, we make use of this again. So if I come here again, I can actually say table.column name, this and that. So let me use my table.column name once again. So I'll soon round up. The main purpose is to show us a real life scenario, show us sometimes we need to go beyond the norms. I'm not after people saying things are only be done on GI. So I can actually get this guy here, table.column name, and copy this. So let's see. So we have a function. So let's review our function, which we think it should work fine. Online, we still have something like online here. So we didn't want anything like online. We didn't want a string. That's the problem here. We didn't want a string. So the next thing we also try to resolve is actually look for why that is a string. Okay. Sorry. Okay, each sheet, table.add column. Okay, so we use table.column name also. So what the solution is actually doing is making use of a lot of Power Query stuff. So let me just try to copy the code here and try to dump it. Yes, so that we'll see what was behind the scene. So we have a function that we believe should work. So what should we do? How do we use a function? So I can just type the table name. You agree with me that this is the table for reseller, and this is the table for sorry. We want table reseller 1, reseller 2, so we can actually go back and say we want to invoke our function. So I can call online, and then you see what the developer has done. It's resolved straight. Let me call this function again and type reseller. It's not going to return an error. It's return reseller. So you can see writing dynamic custom function like this solve a lot of problems. And you can see where we are coming from. The user trying to use the GI alone got stuck because of a lot of things. But you can see I was able to call this function several times from different channels and return. This is the first channel, online, reseller. The function working behind the scene is so dynamic that it can fit into any scenario. If you have a scenario like this in your company, just for you to call the function for me and put it there, everything runs. So I draw the curtain here. If you have question, I'm here to entertain the question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tobi. You have done justice to this work. Any question from any of the participants?
Yes, I have a question.
All right,
Okay.
please go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Emmanuel. Good afternoon.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. My question is, so I'm assuming that if anything happens to the source, you would have to rewrite the function too, right?
Like, to the source
like if the structure of the data in the source changes, that means it changes all of these things.
In a real enterprise scenarios. Okay, can I talk to that? In a real enterprise scenario, the structure of data didn't change just like that. It involved a lot of process. So that's the least stage we consider changing the structure. If you design an ERP system or a database, a database administrator cannot give me a delete function to delete. So we stick to a particular structure. That's where planning comes in. You stick to a particular structure, you build a query, a custom function that work for that structure. Is that clear now?
Yes, it is clear. And just one more. When you were building this function, like when you were doing this, did you have to write out this M code all by yourself, or you used the Power Query and then you just modified it to suit what you wanted?
Okay. Sometimes the way I work is starting with pseudocode algorithm and then looking for solutions. So we start with the user perspective. Oh, GUI is not working. And then I pick up my M language and start writing from scratch.
Oh,
So
okay.
it took about an hour to resolve. It took just an hour or 1.5 hours to resolve them. The someone else hand is up.
Yeah, it's yourself.
Okay. Can go ahead, please.
Yeah, so are we going to get that's the recording of this session?
Yes.
Okay.
The note is always is from the red light, like the street light. It's 300 level, but the yellow one is telling just rewatch the video, and then believe me, again and again, you can do better than this.
I understand. Then I have a second question. Now you have done this for this your use case. Can we also apply a custom function? You have a dirty data and you want to apply, let's say you have about 2 or 3 white spaces before the first word or the first cell of the data, or you have white spaces scattered around the data, both before the data itself and after the data. Let's say you have in the one cell you have Mr. Tobi, and before you have Mr. Tobi, before Mr. you have 3 spaces, white spaces, and after Mr. before you get to Tobi, you have about 4 white spaces. Can a custom function be used to clean up? Normally you use the ETL, you have to trim the data, you keep trimming and trimming and trimming. Can we use a custom function to clean up these white spaces without doing a repetitive process? That is my question.
Yes, you can use the custom function to clean up the white spaces. You can use that too. You can use that just it still boil up with the phase of data project, understanding what we have, and then building a solution with that. So you can do that. Custom function is to be
Okay,
used.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tobi, sorry. Let me just react to that. We don't need to. You may not even need to create a custom function if you already know how to write M code. So I understand you. Instead of having to say replace this, use trim, use clean, you can write M code, just a line of M code that will say anywhere you see something that is like a delimited and this one, just do it at once.
When you write the M code, you have to place that M code in a custom function and call it a name to use. That is so. I understand what you're saying. We're about saying the same thing. So no problem. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question?
Any other question, please? Sorry, I will. I guess why people are not asking is because this is like advanced to them. I don't know if I am, but I just feel the reason why a lot of people are not asking questions, they always want to ask you, is that maybe it is an advance. Of course, like he said, this is like 300 level or 3.5 level for some people. So, Mr. Chooks, if you are there, I think what we need to do to ensure that, because I want to believe the majority of people that are here, maybe they are not yet on this level in terms of writing M code. Maybe some people already started, maybe they are just starting the journey of writing M code. So I want to please that you look at your plan so that you can create, you can understand, just plan for M code, like not advanced level. So that by the time they watch this video, they follow it, and of course, on their own, they will be able to, and somebody would come in and of course teach us on how to write code, like M code in PowerBI.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Exactly. If you can have a session on how to write M code for any use case, you understand? How to write M code, whether to clean data or for any other use case. That will also be very nice. Maybe on another date like that.
Yes, that's
okay.
taken care of.
So this is noted. So we know.
Please, if you have
noted
more
this
questions
down.
for Mr. Tobi, we can
I
go ahead.
have one last question. Just like the last you said, this area, I was in a session and I asked this same question to the white guy, and he wasn't able to answer it very well. Now, let's say you have dirty data. Apart from white spaces, you have dirty data, you have zero, you have nil, you have all manner of data, you have two words joined together, if you have to split, and so on and so forth. I know this is more advanced, but can a custom function be written to clean up different types of dirty data, whether it's white spaces, whether it's you have some zeros where you're not supposed to have zeros in the table, whether you have places where there are empty cells, where they're not supposed to be empty cells. Can the custom function be used to clean up different types of dirty data just at once?
So what I can say is, what I can say is this.
All right. So if I understand very well, you are looking at cleaning up data using mQuery. Hello?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think Mr. Deji wants to respond to some of these things that have been said. Hello, Mr. Deji.
Hello, yes. Good evening.
All
Can
right.
you hear me?
Yes, I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me? Okay,
I can hear
great.
you.
Yes, we can hear
So,
you.
Tobi, thank you very much for a wonderful session. And sincerely, he has actually taken the mQuery to the next level. But based on the question that was asked, I want you to understand one fact about mQuery. As long as you can use step to do all your ETL, the next step for you is to go to the advanced query editor and study what the what's it called? The equivalent of the step.
Exactly.
Understand each of that line. Now, from the question he asks, there is no complex form of mQuery you might want to write. If you don't have a better understanding of each line of your step as a code, then it will be difficult. So use your code to do all those complex steps. Go to the query editor, study it, and then you move on from there. So that is that.
That is it. Just start with the normal stuff.
It will move.
Exactly. Just start with the normal stuff. Just read your line, and then you are going smoothly.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Ethiopia.
Thank you very much,
Sorry,
Mr.
based
Tobi.
on that,
We
I would
really enjoyed.
I would maybe next week or so. I would send a code. Maybe I'll share it with everyone. I would send the data that has white spaces and some other non-printable characters and a line of code in case you want to see that. So I'll just bring that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Hope
That would
that
be nice.
answers. Okay.
No, but I okay, don't worry. I am thinking of why is it not possible for, like, no, this is Microsoft. Why have they not thought about getting a function that can clean up most of the data? And if that is not the case, can we not do that as a project? I don't know, Sha, but I'm just thinking out loud anyway.
Okay. Chooks, please, over to you because of time.
All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Tobi, for the section, and each and every one of us. I'm hoping that we try our best to make sure we are around next week. It's going to be another exciting moment, and a very it's going to be wonderful because we'll be having someone from outside the country will be taking we'll be taking the section for next week. So let us just keep our hand crossed with before the week runs out. By next week we would have bring out the flyer so that we can see. Why the upper week we will be having on the 17th we'll be having Adeleke on the call with us, and then also we'll be having on the 24th we'll be having Mr. Rashid. So he's going to take the floor on the 24th, while on the 31st, which will be the last sorry, I'm not calling the right calendar. On the 14th we'll be having Mr. Adeleke. On the 21st, we'll be having Mr. Rashid, while on the 28th, we'll be having Emmanuel Awa. So we should get ourselves prepared. August is going to be a power-packed one, so let us be prepared. So I will be dropping the feedback form. It is important we fill the feedback form as well. Hello? It will be important we fill the feedback form because it will help us in order to take the program to the next level. Okay? So I'm dropping the form right now on the chat. Okay? I'm dropping the form right now on the chat. So we'll be expecting your feedback. So stay connected and we'll meet next week. Goodbye, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. You're welcome.
Thank you, Toby. Thanks, everyone.
Mr. Schultz, when are we getting our 100 level code training?